Boom, welcome to the Sebs Show. It's your boy Sebs, co-host Gib. We're breaking down UFC Prague in the Czech Republic. It's actually John Blachowicz versus Thiago Santos is your main event there. 5 rounds of fucking violence, pretty much, is what I'm thinking. We're gonna be a really good fight for sure. Can't wait to break it down. There's a couple, like, this isn't one of the stronger cards. This is obviously like what they would do before, back in the day, I guess, is a Fight Pass card, but this is now an ESPN Plus card. So but that, to be honest, there's a lot of good fighters on this card, and there's some interesting matchups we'll get into as well. But tons of passes, in my opinion, that are like, a lot of fights are too close to call. So I guess the outcomes, they will be a little close, and it'll be a good fight to watch. But yeah, let's jump right into it, guys. We got first
Joel Alvarez fight, right?
Yeah, Teymur Ismagulov taking on Joel Alvarez. And this is Demir's second fight in the UFC. His first fight was against Alex Georges, who I'm trying to be nice, but that guy's a can already. You can tell.
He was fighting in his in Australia, right? His hometown. So
he's horrible, man.
It was kind of one of those decisions, you know. He was tough, but yeah, I don't think he landed very many punches in that entire fight.
He's embarrassing, bro. That guy, he was gonna fight Jalen Turner. Jalen Turner was gonna light him up, bro.
Oh, that's a rough fight.
Yeah, bro. Jalen Turner would have fucked his day up. I don't think that guy is very good at all. Unless he gets a very favorable matchup, I would never think about playing him. But Teymur really outclassed me, like 30-25 them, really. He probably could have got the finish at some times, but he's playing a little bit in the third round, playing with Georges' games and whatnot. But Ismagulov, super impressive, man. Really nice striking and super creative too. Something, he's just like a monster, like way he presses forward and stuff, and you can tell he's from Kazakhstan, like my boy Triple G, the way he puts on that pressure on you. And this guy's, like I said, he's got really legit striking. He's got that nasty goal kick, pretty much good everywhere. And then his wrestling is really top quality as well. He's a strong wrestler, really strong top position.
Good at getting out of stuff.
Yeah. And he's got a super good gassing. This is a guy who's gone five rounds in M1 Challenge multiple times, right? He was a former champion over there for 155. So he's a fucking, that guy's a monster. Ismagulov. And I actually got 2.83 units on Ismagulov with three other people or three other things in a parlay at plus 218. And I was looking at Joel Alvarez, and this kid, he is slick on the floor. But, man, I don't know how good you can compare that competition. Teymur 17-1 in Russia, right?
Russia, he jumps and pulls guard a little bit too
quick, that's not going to be good against Teymur. But, like, M1 Challenge itself is, like, that's a top-quality organization where you don't get a lot of – you're going to have a ton of tough fights. Like, go look at the comparisons of, like, the guys Teymur's. I don't think any of them has ever had a losing record. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think he's ever fought somebody with he fought this guy Pedro Granja, who was 1-2. But other than that, he's never fought anybody with a losing record. And his only loss is a decision, right? To when he was still rather young in his career, and he lost to that Asnabayev guy or whatever. This Joel Alvarez kid, you go look at the guys he's faced and stuff, and some of them look like, man, like
they're a little sketchy.
Like I don't think he's faced someone with a losing record.
He actually has fought one good guy, Ali Kalikov. He actually head kicked him and destroyed him in the first round. That was a crazy kick, by the way. Go check that fight out. It'll only take you about 30-40 seconds, but real good fight, and that's probably the best guy he's fought.
34 seconds to be exact, and it's funny, the one time he fought in well, I'm pretty sure the only time he fought in Russia was against that guy, and he lost, right? So I just don't know how deep this, like, he's faced guys with good records, right? I don't think he's faced guys with a losing record as well, but how good is that Spain regional? You know, like, how good are the MMA fighters in fucking Spain, in the Spain regional? You know, like, how
you're not gonna find very many.
Yeah, like AFL, I believe they're all Spanish, right? This guy's been fighting in Spain his whole life. And the one time he didn't fight in Spain, he fought in he fought in Switzerland apparently one time too. But when he fought in Russia, he got knocked out in 34 fucking seconds. I'm not saying because Ismagulov fought in Russia or whatever is gonna knock him out. I'm saying the type of competition Ismagulov has faced compared to the type of competition Joel has faced, it looks
way higher.
Guys like that. Who is he? Raul Tauruli or whatever. Yeah. I can't say his last name. That guy would have fucked up Joel Alvarez as well, I think.
Tudorali, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, there's a couple guys on this list that I think would give him a run for his money for sure. He's got some slick submission stuff. Not the best striking. I think Ismagulov is actually the better striker, the better wrestler as well. So yeah, I got 2.83 units on Ismagulov. And a few other things later in the card. But Gib, go ahead and break this down.
Yeah, I think Ismagulov puts on a really decent pace for that first round. Alex Gorgeous' fight didn't even break his pace. I think he was landing whatever he wanted. Right hand, step-ins, you name it. Lots of body kicks when he gets it going. And the first round, even though he was really striking and landing, there are still fighters who get tired after landing shots and doing well. But this guy doesn't. Just looked real good. Didn't even look like he was sweated very much. No pressure put on him whatsoever. If you don't cover up after firing shots and you miss after this guy, like, you're going to get hit back. He's very good at countering, and he's very accurate with his right hand. Gets great angles on kicks, and he knows exactly when to knee. He doesn't throw too many out there. But he can if he needs to. Good wrestling. I feel like he's really good in scrambles when he's getting up off the ground, and he's really good at crowding people and ruining people's kind of composure in the ring or in the octagon there. He got Alex Gorgeous up on the fence and really destroyed him up. Struggled, got a few body shots on him, and when Alex Gorgeous kind of started to pose in front of him, took it like it was nothing and just kept the pace on him. And obviously decimated him on the stand-up. And I actually think if Joel Alvarez got Alex Georgi, it could be a different fight. Whereas Alvarez, you're right, he hasn't really been fighting anyone that big, but at the same time, this guy's just been putting every sort of submission in the book on people. Lots of guillotines and choke work. He's good at jumping for chokes, actually. I kind of said it is a bit of a bad thing. He does jump to pull guard a lot, but he actually does really good work off his back. He could be definitely going for Hail Marys, so definitely expect those. I'm sure he's going to even want to try to go for an early tap out if he wants to. He's really quick on the grip. Like I said, he's got that boa constrictor grip, and it kind of comes on slow, but it can get tighter. He's actually pretty decent with a few spin kicks if you're not fast enough to react to it. Had some decent trouble with obviously Kalikov. this with the spinning kick, but I mean, you're only in there for 30 seconds with him, so it's very hard to see how that would go if it's been, you know, a round or two. Again, he's still got a good anaconda chokes, triangle chokes, that type of thing. You really need to get this fight to the ground. I haven't seen him stand up very much, and when he does, it seems like a lot of the people aren't pressuring him too much, and he gets away with a lot of things. So I think Teymur will be able to open him up, and especially on the stand-up. And I think his wrestling is decent enough to get up off the floor if anything arises in terms of any sort of submission or any sort of like choke trouble. So I got Teymur Ismagulov, and I think he finishes this fight actually.
Cool. I want to get our next one, Gib. I think it's Khabilov versus
Diego Ferreira.
Yeah, go ahead and break that down.
Yeah. You know, Ismagulov has a really nice left hand. He's got kind of like a lean back boxing style to it. Throws some of those front low kicks with the lead leg. Took a look at the Desmond Green fight where he lands the left hand going into the clinch with Khabilov, and you know, getting some good hooks off there. You're really good at parrying off of his shoulders, and he's pretty strong when it comes to bullying people in the clinch moves. He took a few knees in that first fight. Green seemed a bit weak to Rustam Pronikov when he was throwing four punches at a time. And he does really well when he increases the output on there. He's good at throwing uppercuts, good at throwing hooks. Whereas Diego Ferreira, on the other hand, in that Kyle Nelson fight, it seemed like he was getting hit up in the really early rounds by Nelson. And yeah, granted, it was his hometown, and you know he was really killing it. He did end up actually getting a ground pound win in the second round. Almost had him in trouble in the first at the very end. He really got out of a tough hole there. Not very many people can come back after that. He does get tougher over time, though. It's hard to break him down because if he has a really bad round and he does maybe possibly end up on top at the end of it, in the second round, he's going to come storming out with really heavy shots like he did in the second fight. Likes to finish on top, especially on the top position, and he likes to punch when he can on the stand-up. Whereas Rustam Khabilov, I mean, he's been winning really well recently, and I don't think this fight should be too many problems for him. But Diego Ferreira I can see this guy having a scary comeback. But I actually got Rustam Khabilov in this fight.
Yeah, so I when I was thinking of this one, like Ferreira's last fight, like you're saying, against Kyle Nelson, he was eating some shots, man. And I saw that live, you know, he was eating some shots, standing. He didn't look the greatest, and I never really saw him take anybody down. And then it was like the first time I saw him take somebody down in the UFC was Kyle Nelson. Mm-hmm. And Kyle's ground game is a little bit lacking, let's say, right? Well, especially compared to a fucking world champion Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. It's going to be a little bit of a mismatch on the floor. So once he got on top, he ended up finishing him in the second round. I think Kyle actually survived the first round, with him on top, and then it was in the second round where it got a little ugly. But and before that, for like beat on Jared Gordon, right?
Yeah.
He's got some slick jiu-jitsu.
He gave him his first loss, actually.
Yep. And he's got some slick jiu-jitsu and some good, some pretty good hands and whatnot. I just think Rustam's the more, let's say, calculated fighter, smarter fighter. Really good wrestling Rustam has. Already trained as a Dagestan fighter. Those Russians are just fucking absolute monsters with their wrestling and whatnot. And then he's got some pretty decent striking as well, right? Really technical, fundamental striking as well. Might have lost that, I think it was a split to Cajun Johnson. I have to go back and rewatch that one. So I didn't go back and rewatch it for this week, but I believe it was a split.
That's a weird fight.
But yeah, he when I initially watched it, I thought Rustam won, but obviously I was a little bit biased. I had a bet on Rustam in that fight. I pretty much knew that was Cajun's last fight in the UFC.
Yeah.
So yeah, here I like Rustam here as well. I think Khabilov gets it done. Is able to stop any takedowns that Diego Ferreira has. Probably is able to put him on his back as well, and just outstrike him over the course of 3 rounds. I think this does go all 3, but yeah, I'm taking Khabilov here. Why don't you take our next one as well?
Prazeres?
Yeah, I think that's who it was. Wait, let me make sure so it's not the same mistake as last. Yeah, Prazeres versus Naurdiev. Yeah. So go ahead and break that down.
I mean, I don't know how this guy doesn't have a title shot. He might be the king of split decisions, but like his last loss was to Kevin Lima. And since then, it's just been winning decisions, but getting a few chokes in there in between. Got a north-south choke on Josh Berkman. Got another one on Mads Burnell, and got a guillotine on Bartosz Fabinski. And I don't think a lot of people had him in that Fabinski fight. That guy's a rock, man. All he has to really do is move slow, because he's such a big body that people can't move him around. And even if he walks slow and kind of, trails you into the corners and tries to get you up against the fence, once he has you there, those right hand swinging wide hooks, all it takes is one just to knock you off your composure. And I actually think he could have knocked out Fabinski in that fight. Didn't even really need the guillotine, because he hit him with a hammer before he got the submission on there. He's got a nasty guillotine, obviously, in a lot of other fights. People have to watch out for it. People have to be really cautious in that first round, because he kind of comes out at a very slow pace, but at the same time, he sprints every now and then. He kind of concentrates like maybe a second or two to sprinting and then throwing one big shot. And if it gets over your hand after like an overextended jab, I mean, this guy's going to clip you. Overall, this guy can surprise anybody with his pressure and adjustment, and then just go for a choke or something. He can pretty much win every fight like this and just sprint for people, and worst comes to worst, I mean, his pace is so good that he gets the decisions, and it's just really hard to move him around. Whereas Ismail Naurdiev, I mean, it's his debut fight, and I think this is a good proving ground for him. Again, similar to Villante likes to throw hooks. He throws both of them left and right, though, whereas Michael Prazeres kind of just looks for that one. He's a right or left. He kind of throws both, I feel like, and he's got some high kicks in there, and he mixes those in with the hooks. Real good combination there. Goes for overhand lefts a lot. I actually like how he throws in that fight, in the fight with Villante. Very good on the ground. Check out those leg locks he almost got Thomas Janeski with. Interesting setup for it too. He got his left hand around working against Khalil Roundtree. But I think that fight got overturned by a drug test, no?
Who?
His fight with Khalil Roundtree. Ismail Naurdiev.
Buddy, who are you talking about? Ismail Naurdiev is fucking 170 pounds.
Oh, sorry. I put this in there. My bad. It's a note from an earlier one.
You're for sure talking about Michael Oleksiejczuk. Yeah.
Yeah. My bad. I just got added in that. But yeah, I like how Ismail Naurdiev can mix in the hooks when he can. He's got some good wins in some previous divisions against Palestino Rocha, beat him by punches in the first round. He's kind of been cruising through a lot of people as of recently. Only lost to one guy, Ismail DeJesus. Again, a jiu-jitsu dude. Lost that fight, but I don't know, man. I think I think Michael Prazeres is still pretty deadly, but Naurdiev is a pretty big up-and-coming fighter. I think Prazeres has been in some wars, so Ismail will only really have to kind of touch him a little bit. He might have to worry about that first round, but I think if he can mix in his right hands and his kicks, and be able to kind of keep Prazeres back. And if he does get into some jiu-jitsu trouble, he should be able to get out of it. Maybe even put a leg lock on Prazeres or something. Yeah, I think Naurdiev takes this fight, but it'd be impressive if Prazeres wins this one.
It'd be impressive if Prazeres wins this.
It'd be impressive, yeah.
Oh my goodness, he's minus 400. He's fucking supposed to win, brother. That guy's more than supposed to win. I think it'd be impressive if the Wonder Boy wins.
I don't know, man. He's been in there for a while. If he gets touched on the head, he might get knocked out. He's like 37 years old.
He's never been knocked out. He's never been knocked out.
A lot of split decisions. Shit, man.
He's never been knocked out. And that guy has all the experience on his side. I was actually going to put him in a parlay, but something's telling me to stay away from that fight. I do think the Austrian Wonder Boy is like striking is fucking legit, like very legit. He has a lot of power and crazy striking, right? And his ground game in that, if you watch that one fight against Ismail, whoever the fuck that guy was, Jesus or whatever, he was put on his back multiple times though, and he was pretty much controlled throughout the fight on his back. Didn't really try to hip escape or really do anything off the floor. He tried, I think, to shoot an armbar or a triangle from guard, but he ended up getting past and into side control from there. So he doesn't know too much from the ground. He's preferably a striker. I think Prazeres is going to be able to get him down. Like, this is a big thing, though. If Prazeres gets him down, Prazeres is going to, especially early, he's going to be able to work him for that submission. But I'm actually going to go with you, and I'm going to take the Austrian Wonder Boy on this fight for the upset. And I think he wins and is the first guy to beat Prazeres in quite a while. I think this kid has youth on his side. He's got fucking almost 20 fights, right? This is going to be his 20th fight, professional fight when he goes to fight Prazeres. And he's a legit striker. If this kid rocks up points in that first round and Prazeres starts getting tired or goes for unsuccessful takedowns or anything like that, this Wonder Boy's going to take over with some strikes, and he's going to be the fresher fighter, in my opinion. And I think Prazeres holding that extra weight at 170. He's only fought there twice now. He's got like that frame, super stocky frame. And he does gas quite a bit. Throws a little bit of wild punches. It looks like Naurdiev could actually counter that. So I'm actually going to go with Naurdiev, but I would be more impressed, in my opinion, if Naurdiev pulls this off than if Prazeres pulls this off, because Naurdiev's pretty big underdog, and but rightfully so. It's his first fight in the UFC, and
I would think that they'd give it to this guy for some reason, just because it's his first fight in the UFC. You know what I mean?
What do you mean?
Like it hasn't had any like.
Yeah, I guess, but like,
and this is that's a pretty big fight for his first, even though the guy's old. Like,
yeah, but I'm also going the Austrian Wonder Boy here. Okay, so our next fight on the list, I'm gonna let you take this one as well. Damir Hadzovic taking on Polo Reyes.
Polo Reyes, he beat the undefeated Matt Frivola, man, and he was. And I thought Frivola could have won that one. Going into that, seeing Reyes coming off a loss earlier, he took some big punches early, but he really thrived in the pocket, and he actually seemed to get better as he landed. Kind of start to bring it back piece by piece. a little bit of a sloppy trade here and there, but he works well with it. It's a kind of a tough, rough and tough style, but in a good way. He hit some nice left hooks and a nice good right cross. He knocked the mouthpiece out. Even though he lost to James Vick, he had a nice leg kick going for a while before James Vick just kind of ate a few of them and threw a big right hand at him. I mean, Vic just has that low hand style, and Reyes just has his hands up, but at times can still get caught, especially over the top. If he gets up from the ground, he'll really get into your space and start to throw punches. Really good at kind of getting, I would say, just getting into a good rhythm to brawl with you some more. The Dong Kyung Ma fight is real good. If you watch that fight, that's just a bloody mess of a scrap there. And I think he ends that in the third round. Whereas Teymur Hadzovic, I mean, his grappling, super strong off of his back. I mean, check out his fight with Marcin Held, known for being good on the ground. I mean, in the first round, kind of defending off his back after being taken down. You don't want to get caught with Teymur's when he starts throwing elbows. He starts throwing those off the break, and they're very, very rough. And he could be a little bit flinchy, and I feel like in his fight with Nick Keen, it kind of affected him. He kind of would throw half-hearted kicks. Kind of seems like when he's a step behind, he does very, very terribly. Normally, he can keep a step ahead of the game a lot longer. Jumping into the third round with a huge flying knee sometimes, crazy. Makes some crazy decisions out of nowhere. He's pretty fast when he's up on the scramble, and it'll be a good grappling match on the ground, I think, for Teymur Hadzovic in this fight. I got Teymur in this one.
Yeah, I really didn't take this one, to be fucking honest, guys, at all. I just obviously know both fighters. I had Polo's actually, like you said, impressed me with that Matt Favoul fight, because I think Matt Favoul is pretty legit, and I think I probably did have 5 units on Favoul in that fight. I was a big fan of him. He was undefeated. I thought he was a good wrestler. I thought he was going to take Polo down, really grind him out and choke him out, and I thought he was actually a little bit of a better striker than Polo, and he was just winging shots, and he got overconfident in his first fight. You can see he calmed down a little bit in his second fight against Lando, right? But yeah, first fight he gets clipped by Paul Reyes, and usually Paul Reyes has some fucking hands. If you want to watch literally in one of the greatest fights of all time, go watch Paul Reyes versus Dong Kyung Kim.
Yeah.
And that's fucking one of the greatest fights of all time, 100%.
It's Dong Hyun Ma now.
Yeah, Dong Hyun Ma. But awesome fight. I think Paul ends up winning that one as well.
He knocks him out.
This could go either way. I actually think Teymur's a little bit of the better striker here. I think he's a little underrated at times as well. Especially, I took Marcin Held against him, and Marcin really controlled him on the floor for that first round, and then he gets this fucking knee when Marcin Held's going for an Imanari roll. He gets this knee, and he knocks him out. And then who was his last fight? Teymur's last fight.
His last fight was Nick Heen. That was a split decision. Yeah. He still won it, but he looked a little off.
Yeah, that one wasn't the greatest as well. But Nick Heen he's a tough out. And he was definitely I think he was favored in that fight as well. So I don't know. I like this guy, the Bosnian Bomber. I think we might even see a finish. I think he might knock Polo Reyes out, so I'm going with Teymur Hadzovic. Who did you pick?
I got Teymur, yeah.
Yeah. So we both do.
Hadzovic.
Okay, cool. And so our next fight is Julian Robertson versus Veronica Macedo. You can take this one as well, Gib.
Yeah. You know, Jane Robertson, if she can get the takedown, man, the skills are there. You know, she's tough to keep from passing. Once she starts to get top from Myra Bueno, I mean, it was no problem. I mean, she got a lot of good side control pressure and pretty much made her day real bad on the floor. She waits for a moment in terms of takedowns, and you know, she may even force a few sweeps off the back and go for heel hooks or knee bars, or you know, she'll kind of be a little crafty on the ground there. Little mistake at the end of the first round with that Amari Brito Silva fight, because she was winning a lot of that fight on the ground. She got hit with a spin kick and a few big right hands and just got her arm caught. Big respect to Bueno Silva for that fight. She locked up a pretty nice win there. You know, when she takes mount, I mean, she looks for arm triangles, and she mixes in a lot of ground pound elbows. So when she doesn't get the submission, she's always busy and she's always working. Molly McCann had to sprint away from Robertson in order to keep her away, and she still got caught up and locked up against the fence. It's going to be a rough fight, and she got a choke on Molly McCann too, right in the corner. Whereas Veronica Macedo, I mean, like, arguably she's taken two very big threats in both Andrea Lee and you know, Ashley Evans-Smith, who both recently fought. We saw the end of that. Andrea Lee came out on top there, but you know, she doesn't mind throwing some heavy leather, and she got a lot of pressure on Andrea Lee early, and she went in for some spinning kicks as well. But you know, Andrea Lee's pace is kind of gonna be a big factor in there as well. She did get a takedown, then kind of got destroyed by the first round. She tends to be a bit of a less heavy puncher and likes to kind of tap, staying on the ground with Andrea Lee. Not very good. But she got a sneaky little heel hook on the fence. She tried to go for, and she likes to go for some last-minute submission threats every now and then. Sometimes it's like too little, too late. But she does fight pretty well off her back. But I think Jillian Roberts is a little tougher with it, tougher on the stand-up. But I think the competition that Macedo has faced up until now is really going to show going into this fight, because Jillian Roberts is a person who's fought a lot of tough competition before as well. And after that, if Macedo's getting hit by some of Jillian Robertson's punches, then she's got to fix a lot of stuff, and that she's still kind of going off from the Ashley Evans-Smith fight. So we'll see what happens. But I got Jillian Roberts in that one.
Yeah. I think I'm also going to go with Jillian Roberts, and I think she's got a better ground game. If she gets Macedo to the floor, I think she's able to going to be able to choke her out or something like that. If not, at least get dominant position on top. Macedo's a pretty decent striker and will make you work. But
yeah,
I don't know, tough fight to call. But I'm going to go with Robertson as well. Just give me a second, guys. Actually, I won't make you guys wait. Gib, just take the next one as well. Bro, I'm just doing something. It's a Chris Fishgold versus Daniel Teymur.
So you know what? You owe it to yourself to go check out Chris Fishgold. This guy, real good, good boxing type striking, and great little bit of single leg takedowns and lots of hand punching, a lot of good wrestling. Goes for a lot of submissions. He's a lot of trouble on the ground, especially if he starts throwing the ground and pound from top position. Each shot he lands, he starts to increase his pace after he punches. He's got real fast high kick. he likes to return kicks a lot. So, you know, if people throw punches, he's fine with boxing with them. But once they're ready to kick, he's kicking right back. Super fast when it comes to that. His only loss is coming, or one loss is coming from Guy Boom. I recommend checking that one out. Really good because I think Fishgold kind of looks like Khabib in a way. Like he just beats you up on the ground, moves your arms away, takes your support off, and just kind of beats you up before you can even post. Teymur, I mean, he's got good striking. I thought even though he has lost his last few fights, I still think he's pretty decent on the stand-up. He's got a decent jab. He likes to get it right over the shoulder, and he's been doing pretty decent, especially against a lot of taller opponents. He can kind of feint them out for a while and do pretty well. He's got a nice chopping overhand that he hit Danny Henry with a few times, and he was doing a lot in the first round. But shit, man, I'm trained with his brother, so obviously got high-level training partners there. It's going to be a real tough decision on the ground because he has lost due to choke, especially by Julio Arce in the tail end of that fight. So he's going to have to go through Chris Fishgold, who actually has a good ground game and can get you into choke just as quick. He did lose to Qatar though, but at the same time, I still think Daniel Teymur is still decent on his feet, man. I still think he's pretty dangerous. He was coming into the UFC with a KO in the first round over Manolo Siriana. He was doing okay, so I feel like he might get his first win in the UFC here, and actually turn things around for himself. But I mean, Chris Fishgold is a real tough fight, and it can become a grind fest real easy, and it might be a real tough fight for David Teymur to win. But I still think his striking is a little bit better than Chris Fishgold.
His wrestling is better than Chris Fishgold.
No, striking. I don't know about wrestling. I think he get mauled, but like I think he get tapped out for sure. But I think he could keep on his feet and strike with him at least.
Yeah. No, that's not gonna happen. But I'll tell you what's good though. Chris Fishgold's literally gonna strike with this guy until he wants to. Daniel Teymur has maybe 30 fucking seconds to land a shot that will to knock out Chris Fishgold, and like everyone's saying Chris Fishgold gets hit a lot and stuff. Well, he faced Calvin Kattar. He was actually 17-1-1 before he faced Calvin Kattar, so I have no idea what everyone's talking about, saying he gets hit all the time or he doesn't have the best chin. I have no idea what the fuck people are talking about. Literally no idea. But hey, man, to each its own there. Chris Fishgold's going to absolutely maul Daniel Teymur. He's going to take him down. He's going to beat the fuck out of him, and then he's going to choke him out. And it's probably going to be done in the first round as well. Minus anything less than minus 400 on here should be value. Fishgold should definitely be minus 400 or up here. I literally see almost no path to victory for Daniel Teymur. He gasses so fucking quickly. It's ridiculous. And the guy looks like a bantamweight, to fucking be honest. In his first fight, he was fighting at 155, and people were saying he's a featherweight. Yeah. He looks like he can fucking make bantamweight, to tell you the truth. Chris Fishgold's fucking huge for featherweight. So he's going to take you down. He's going to maul you. He's going to get you really fucking tired, especially the Teymur brothers, who are good strikers, but not too good on the ground, right?
No.
And we'll see what happens like that. But I got Chris Fishgold actually in that parlay with Ismagulov and two other things later in the card. 2.83 units at plus 218, and as soon as the line comes out for Chris Fishgold by submission, I'll be playing that as well, 0.5 units. So I got Fishgold all day here.
All right.
Carlo Pedersoli versus Dwight Grant. Dwight Grant's last fight, man. He fought Zaka Otto. I think I fucking put 5 units on him there too. Like definitely, I definitely bet him though. I know that. Was super confident in him going into that fight. He's a good wrestler, right? Trains at American Kickboxing Academy. Has these heavy hands and stuff. The only thing about him is he's old. He's like 34, 35 or some shit. And but you go look at all his fights, and this guy's got some power in his hands, right? Yeah. And he's legit. He's got some legit power. And you go watch his fight on the Contender Series, and he looked real good in that fight, I thought, against Tyler Hill. But my problem with him, and I remember this when I was watching the fight, when I bet him, I was like, this motherfucker doesn't throw. I don't know if it was because it was his first fight in the UFC or something, but he really like just doesn't throw his hands at all. And I understand the point of being a counter fighter and stuff.
Throws a lot going backwards.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's not good on the judges' scorecards. If you're going backwards, throwing punches, unless you're knocking the fucking guy out, they really don't. And like, how often do you see a guy landing shots backwards and the guy forwards not landing shots? You know?
Yeah, yeah.
So it doesn't look good on this judges' scorecards at all. He was being way too patient. Would have liked to see him use his wrestling a little bit more, as well. On the other hand, you got Carlo Pedersoli, who got knocked out super quick against Alex Oliveira, Cowboy, right? And then before that, he fought. I took him in that Brad Scott fight, and I thought that was a really good matchup for him. And before that, he actually had a damn good fight against Nicholas Dalby. That's a pretty good one as well. In Cage Warriors, I think it was for the strap. No, it wasn't. But that was a good fight as well that he ended up taking. Tough fight. I think that Pedersoli is a good striker as well. He might even be a better striker than Dwight Grant. Definitely the more wild,
weird, man.
Creative. Yeah, more creative and stuff like that, I would say. This is a tough fight to fucking call. But I think Dwight Grant gets his first win in the UFC here. I think. Yeah. So I'm gonna go with Dwight Grant.
Yeah. I completely see why. I was gonna talk about that that kind of no punching thing, and I do think he does have that, but when he's holding back punches, I feel like he wants to throw them as he's moving backwards, kind of jabbing, or when he's jabbing and already had landed a few times while moving backwards, then he'll jab going forwards once he already knows that he's landing and he's already in a rhythm or in some sort of winning pattern, and kind of go for a head strike, mix up for a body shot. He's pretty good at that when he starts to land. He throws lots of good singles, and he was able to get away from a lot of Zach Otto's big high kicks, which is a big problem for a lot of people. He throws lots and lots of jabs, and he does try to connect with them. But in the Zach Otto fight, it didn't exactly work out for him. I think he's pretty decent at avoiding those, spinning kicks, and I feel like that was a reason why when I looked at Pedersoli, I mean, shit, his left hand is super low. Just everything. Sometimes he just will go an entire round without punching. He'll just throw kicks, and he's accurate as hell. But when he misses, a lot of opponents kind of tend to give him this weird time. Bradley Scott fought him, and in the first round was just getting absolutely spin kicked to death. Sometimes your rhythm is off that night, and just stepping in the wrong places, and I don't know what happens, but like he was getting switched stances on. Everything just looked easy. It didn't seem like a game plan that I really just go in, just throw kicks. He does every now and then throw a Superman punch and kick off the fence and do one of those type of Showtime punches, and he does talk shit every now and then. So we might have a pretty good fight on our hands here, and he's definitely entertaining to watch. But I feel like if he gets rushed and gets, put on the back foot easily, he can get beaten up. Now, I definitely understand if Dwight Grant chooses not to throw that night, he could ruin his chances completely and just get out-kicked the entire day, which is kind of scary. But I still think Dwight Grant's got a little more courage than that. I think he summons up enough to go on the inside, start throwing punches, and get the jab to work, get everything going, and maybe even start to land after Pedersoli is done with these kicks and get him on the floor and help, maybe even beat him up on the floor. So I hope Dwight Grant knocks him out in this fight. But yeah, I got Dwight Grant in this one.
All right. Our next one is a play I actually made. I put 2 units on Klitz and Farias here, and Ismagulov and Ankalaev. I really like this Farias guy, man. Good grappler. People are underestimating his strike. I think he can strike with Ankalaev for a little bit and take it to the match when he wants. I know Ankalaev is a good wrestler himself, but I think the shot at plus 195 here. I put 2 units at plus 195. I wanted plus 200, but it went there for like literally 30 seconds and then dropped back down to plus 195. I really think this guy is going to be able to get Ankalaev down at some point. I think he's the stronger, definitely the bigger fighter. And once he gets him down, he's going to use his world-class jiu-jitsu. He's a world champion Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt, right? And he's going to submit Ankalaev. Ankalaev literally doesn't have the best IQ, let's be honest, guys, because when you hear a 10-second clapper, even when I'm in my gym, I don't give a fuck. You guys can say what you want. If you guys have ever trained before, any fighter literally fights to the last, you're going out, bro. If there's 10 seconds left, first of all, the choke was applied with 6 seconds left, so he had 6 seconds left when the choke was applied just to gut it out and fucking not tap to Paul Craig. This guy raises his hand with a second left, taps out in 5 seconds. I'm not saying it's super quick, but that had to be the strongest squeeze in the fucking world if that makes you tap out like that with 1 minute to go after. You've been literally dominating the fight, the whole fight for 14 minutes and 59 seconds. You've dominated, and then you tap out with a minute to go. Where's your fight IQ then? Where's your fight IQ, sir? It's how do you not tell yourself, I've dominated this whole fucking fight?
Yeah, completely. Up until that point.
I heard the 10-second clapper about 5 seconds ago. I literally just have to hold on for 5 more fucking seconds. If I go out, let my ass go out, but I'm not even raising my hand to tap. And he taps. Buddy, go fuck yourself. I don't care what any of you guys say. That to me, that's a quitter, man. That could have been the bright lights, whatever. He quit, bro. Poor fight IQ, or he quit. One of the two there. Looks good in a second fight against Pragnio, but fucking Sam Alvey looked good against Pragnio, and Sam Alvey is fucking horrible, right?
Yeah.
Let's slow the roll on Pragnio. I'm pretty sure that guy gets cut pretty damn soon as well. He's 2 first-round knockouts or whatever. So that guy, not too sure what he's planning to do in the future. Like I said, man, I think Farias takes this guy down. I like that he trains at Evolution Thai with all those monsters like Papai, those crazy jiu-jitsu guys, and when what's his name was trained there before, Felipe Silva, is it? No. Neto BJJ. Neto BJJ used to train there as well, and I think Thomas Almeida used to train there as well. It's a pretty well-known camp in Brazil there, and the head coach Andre Dida's fucking top quality coach. Really good to have in your corner. I think Farias is going to be able to take Ankalaev down, pull off the upset, and sub him here.
Yeah, I started looking at this guy late actually. Kotsan Farias Abreu, he's really good on the ground, man, and he doesn't. It doesn't seem like it bothers him when he slams people either. Like you see a lot of people going to into the fuel tank just to lift people and slam them. But I mean, when he drops people, it doesn't even seem like it's much effort. He lifts them up maybe like a little bit off the floor, gets to people's back. He takes it back like it's nothing. Obviously, this is his first fight under the lights, and obviously, like you said, Ankalaev already showed what can happen if you panic right under there. But yeah, he was absolutely decimating that fight. He was controlling him the entire time. I would say he was winning. I mean, just off of body kicks, off of just good wrestle boxing. It was all around. Elbows, spinning elbows. The fight probably could have been stopped a bunch of different times throughout that fight. I mean, my heart goes out to Paul Craig, man. That guy's a warrior for sticking to it and actually getting the triangle, not giving up. I think it's more of a sentiment to that. I mean, like, Paul Craig just still hanging in there and going for the Hail Mary when all looked lost, right? From the southpaw stance, he's pretty deadly. And if you leave him in one place for too long, he'll land something nasty. He's got good, sambo skills. He can wrestle and he can get back up from the ground. So it's not going to be easy for Farias to put him onto the floor, but it's definitely gonna take him a while to get it, I think. But if it does get to that point, I think Farias does have some decent punches as well. It seems like he packs some power in those hands. He likes to grab people's legs and go for punches after that, and he tends to scoop up the power every now and then. Every now and then he's throwing it light, then maybe medium strikes, and then here come the heavy strikes. I think he's pretty varied across the map, and he tends to have some good timing when it comes to it. Whereas Ankalaev can make this fight really grindy with some good wrestling. Again, he's got some problems on the ground, especially if Kilson Farias is still alive in these rounds, because the submission will always kind of be out there for him. And I don't know. I mean, after hearing your analysis on it, I'm not even sure. I was actually going to pick Ankalaev in this fight, but you're kind of changing my mind over here. I might even make a DraftKings adjustment. So I might actually have to look into this a little bit longer. I kind of want to see a few more of his fights. I know it's first, but yeah. I think Clinton Farias very well could win this fight.
Yeah.
Super tough in the stand-up.
Yeah.
Like enough that I'm pretty sure he could take a few kicks and land like a decent shot of his. I think maybe in the very beginning he might be a little slow. I don't think he's the best striker, but that guillotine or any sort of choke is all out for him, out in the open.
Okay, so our next fight is Peter Yan versus John Dodson. I'll let you take this one, Gib.
I know you're a little tired of John Dodson's style as of lately. A lot of awkward combos, but they work. Very deadly hand speed, good movement. He's got that zigzag kind of pattern to him, and he's very difficult to figure out, especially if he keeps running. And if you're trying to corner him, going at a slow pace just will not help you. I mean, your best bet is to really keep the kicks down and maybe try to land a few punches on him when you can get close. Try to force him to corners. Try to get him to wrestle off of the fence and beat him up off of breaks. Because if you can keep him close, you might have him for a minute. But once he gets away from you, it's going to be real difficult to catch him again. He constantly has changing footwork, blitzing punch speed, kind of bounces off the fence sometimes and goes with the bounce. He's always hustling, man. This guy's always hustling. He's got good ground game. He's good at getting up from the ground, at least. Good at grabbing people's legs and holding them up and kind of getting people off balance enough that he can get in on the inside and start throwing his punches again and then jump right back out. He's good at phone boost fighting and then jumping back out. But it is getting a little bit difficult for him to run away from everybody every fight, especially if everyone knows that you're going to do it. I think Peter Yan has some great kickboxing skill and just some good overall leg kicks. I think if he can keep them to a minimum, his hands will be good enough that he can get close to him. What I really want to see Peter Yan work in this fight is the knees, because I actually think it's a shorter strike, and it might even be able to get in between when if Dodson goes for a takedown, if he wants to bring it to there, or even go for points and then sprint back up on the sprint back up from the ground. Peter Yan is doing real good as of lately, killing Jin So Soon in their fight, unanimous decision, and ending Douglas Andrade's fight. He's got some brutal weapons all around. Always has hooks in people's faces. Always has a good jab, and makes use of teeps very well. I think Peter Yan will have a bit of a difficulty maybe tracking down Dodson in the beginning, but I think his punch count should be able to bring him to the corners and maybe even rough him up on the fence a little bit with the knees. So I think Peter Yan wins this fight, and he'll be able to track down Dodson. It won't be easy, and it could be another split decision, but I got Peter Yan in this one. What do you think?
I was going back and forth. I was originally going to bet Peter Yan right at whatever, -300 or whatever the fuck he's at, -275. And then that was originally what I was planning to do there. I really think he's there's been many guys who have solved John Dodson, obviously, but I think Peter Yan's not the best matchup for Dodson, as in Peter Yan's going to be throwing a lot of strikes, more strikes than Dodson, so the output's going to be more. And Yan is also going to be pressuring him a lot. He's going to be coming forward with that pressure nonstop. He won't take a back step. Dodson's going to be running around the whole fucking octagon, in and out with paw chops the whole time, doing his thing, trying to win a split decision. That's how Dodson fights. It's not entertaining, but that's how he fights. I do think Peter Yan wins this, but this I actually added into the parlay for 2.83 units with Ismagulov and Chris Fishgold, and now this fight goes to decision. I think it goes all 3 rounds. I think it's rather close, actually. I think Dodson can actually win 1 or 2 rounds, and he might win the fight. But I am leaning towards Peter Yan to win the fight, but my bet is on the fight goes to decision here. I think I got it at -350 in the parlay, but yeah, I'm going with that for sure. But yeah, I'll take Peter Yan here in this fight. I do think that's a future title. That's a future title challenger at 135 for sure, and definitely could be champion sometime. I'll let you talk about the girl fight for sure. Liz Carmouche versus Lucy Pudilova.
You know what? I kind of like Liz Carmouche in this. I like how she's kind of got a bounce to her switching stances kind of style. She likes to change levels every now and then as well. Likes to kind of do little steps and gets in and out of the phone booth quite nicely. Has some pretty good advantages on the striking front. Goes for takedowns really early. Got one on Jennifer Maia. She can actually be real difficult to take down as well. She was able to wear people down once she gets them to the fence, and then from the fence she can bounce their back right off of it and onto the ground. Good at locking up and controlling people's hips. Good at the body lock. I mean, she's a good ground puncher. And she even gave Maia some trouble with uppercuts and nice short hooks. Carmouche is able to start off with her hands low, and then as she lands more and more punches, she starts getting more confident, and all of a sudden, she's using the blocks in there, and she's got the guard up. She really goes to that arm bar when she's on top and starts to mount and starts to throw punches. Good at getting side control, and if she gets it, she can definitely keep it for a while. She was able to keep top control for like an entire third round in the Jennifer Maia fight. And I think Lucy Pudilova is going to find it real difficult because she throws a lot of kicks. Not saying they can't hit Liz Carmouche, but she starts them off really light. And as she starts tapping you with more and more of them, they almost become measuring tools. And then she's just going to line you up for some really big chopping kick. I actually like her fights, and she throws in the 1-2s pretty viciously as well. She's pretty fierce when she throws single punches, but she can really start to go ham when she starts throwing when she starts throwing the just constant 1-2s. She's had a split decision with Irene Aldana, and you get to see Pudilova throw superwoman punches. That's pretty sick. She lands a lot of good shots when she starts hitting the pace really early, and I think she would actually do better if she increased the output of her shots and maybe even started throwing more of the chopping kicks in the beginning. She really beat up Sarah Moraes with some nice hand speed with low hands too. She walks around with people with low hands and just kind of gets into their face and starts throwing punches. But I think it's a bit of an unsafe style, especially due to Liz Carmouche. And she's got some decent power in her hands. But Pudilova does like to throw her hooks, but I feel like that's where she gets a few counters, and Liz Carmouche is pretty good at doing those specific kind of counters right after going right over top. So yeah, I got Liz Carmouche in this because she can also beat her up on the ground as well, and it would be kind of tough to get her to take down. So yeah, I got Liz Carmouche in this one.
I think Liz is gonna have a tough time at the beginning bringing Pudilova down, and Pudilova comes out like a fucking firecracker.
Yep.
She's really gonna, I think, push the pace in the first round. If Carmouche doesn't get on the floor, she's gonna be in trouble. I think she got taken down by Sarah Moraes, who's known as like that armbar specialist, right? Lucy, I think, got taken down by her. So Liz can definitely take her down. Liz is the way stronger grappler, in my opinion. But Pudilova is a pretty damn good striker, and I think her output, especially it being in the Czech Republic and in Prague, probably her hometown, she's literally the only Czech Republic fighter on the card. They're going to be going absolutely insane for her. Anytime she throws, anytime she does anything, they're going to scream, right? And it's going to make an impact on the judges, whether you like it or not. The judges are going to react to the screaming, thinking it was a bigger shot than it actually was. It always happens. That's what happens in these fights, right? In Brazil and wherever the fuck these fights are happening, usually happens. And we've never. I don't remember the last time they've been to Czech Republic. I don't think they've ever been to Czech Republic, so we really don't know how the judging is there at all, or how the commission is, or anything like that. I think it's a super fucking close fight. I think Liz is gonna win at least a round with the wrestling. But I think Pudilova is gonna come out in that first round super quick. He's gonna do damage for 2 to 3 minutes. Might get taken down near the end of the round, but I think they'll score that round for her. She might lose a round, and then it might come down to that third round, and it'll be like maybe a split decision that I see Pudilova getting that hometown cooking from. Even not necessarily if she actually wins the fight. I think she gets the win though. Other than that, yeah, I like. I don't like Pudilova, but I think she gets the W here. But this is I'm not. That's probably one of my least confident picks. I do think Carmouche has the capability to definitely take her down, sub her if needed, and really beat her up on the ground and win like that. But yeah, not one of my most confident picks, but I do like Pudilova here. Our next fight is actually Jean Villante versus Michael Oleksiejczuk. This is a good one. Well, not really, but fuck. Villante is always. I think this is going to be kind of like a war back and forth. It's going to be sloppy at times.
It's a tough fight.
But it'll be a war. Villante always gets in those fucking. He's a guy who likes to fist fight. Doesn't move his head literally at all. Not the highest fight IQ. But he does hit quite hard, and but yeah, I really don't like that he doesn't move his head. I would literally never bet Villante anymore. I think he's getting older too, and that's was a super favorable matchup with good odds. But this guy, the Lord or whatever his name is, Lord, I think his name is, but Michael, I can't say his last name. Michael Oleksiejczuk. I think I said it. I think I said it pretty good.
That's gotta be close. That's gotta be close.
Yeah, fuck, man. I put some money on
the check.
Yeah. Oh, that's even fuck.
The legs the check. I don't know.
I think that's super close too. I put some money on both of our.
There's a Z in there.
Voices. Yeah, there has to be. He did look kind of good. Like you were saying earlier when you mixed up the fights.
Yeah,
you got it right. You got it right. He got popped for steroids against Khalil Roundtree, and kind of looked good in that fight. I actually had 5 units on Khalil in that fight, as I remember, and Khalil just ended up getting more tired, and this guy just worked Khalil, man. And I think he's been out ever since that fight. I don't think he's fought anyone. I think he was on a year suspension or something.
Yeah.
And this is his first fight back, and I think he gets the job done. He's definitely he's almost positive he's a younger fighter without looking, but I'd say he's the younger fighter, and probably the higher ceiling of the two at this point, right? Like Villante's is definitely on the decline, I would say. The last fight to Ed Herman was pretty damn fucking closer, and he ended up pulling that one through, but Ed Herman's, like, I don't know, man, if you're pulling out split decisions with Ed Herman at this point, I don't know what's happening. This guy Lord, though, looks like he can make 185 pretty fucking easily, though. I don't know why he did. Maybe he's one of those guys like a Gastelum or whatever who likes to hold their weight, or like a Prazeres on this card who fights at the higher weight and would rather not cut down. But this guy doesn't look that bad. It reminds me of, like, Ankalaev looks like he can make 185, and Ankalaev is bigger than this guy. And this guy definitely looks like he can make 185. But he's got some power in his hands as well, some pretty decent grappling. Yeah, I think this Oleksiejczuk guy takes the W here. I think he beats Villante. Might even knock him out in the third round.
Yeah.
Did you break it down, or is it?
No, not yet.
Okay, go on.
Yeah, Oleksiejczuk's got some nice hooks, man. Good uppercuts, nice single kick. He looks to looks into the late rounds. I find pretty good takedown pressure when he can. Wins on the feet for sure. Starts off in southpaw, through some nice middle kicks to keep people back. Hand right up the middle, and he kept Khalil Roundtree back, man. And I think a lot of fighters go in there and they don't give Khalil Roundtree that respect. And I think that might be the reason why Gokhan Saki lost to him. Actually, he wanted to play right inside, right on the inside with him. And when this guy did it, it looked good. He was trading with him and doing well, getting right over his punches, and he was hitting Khalil Roundtree with similar punches that he hits other people with. Nice short left uppercut, and just overall decent on the feet. Pretty good round kick that he kept in his face, and I think it's the same thing that he's going to do in the Gian Villante fight. Villante has definitely seen better days, a lot of split decisions. Lost against Sam Alvey, but he did get that win over Ed Herman, just barely. Has some very thudding shots, man. He doesn't care. He'll eat fighter shots and then throw a big bomb. He likes to feint, but he does tend to be a little bit lazy on the stand-up. He's got some pretty decent control, and he has a few little pocket moves that he likes to do that kind of work. kind of like half clinching, throwing hooks on the inside. He does a lot of good, kind of pairs up a good left hook or two and a good right hand. He eats fighters up who stand in front of him. If you stand in front of him and get sloppy and get really down in the mud with him, Villante will beat you at that game all the time. And let's not forget, this guy beat up Corey Anderson. He was kind of smart in that fight, and he actually like weathered he kind of weathered a storm and then landed a nasty kick in the early rounds. But I mean, we haven't seen that Gian Villante in a long time. So if he even wants to stand a chance against Oleksiejczuk, like, he's got to pull on that. He's got to bring that, whatever that was. I thought it was kind of unexpected for him to take that fight because Corey Anderson, I think is a lot better than him right now. I think if a rematch happened, I think Corey Anderson would win. But he still got it back then. And hey, man, after getting hit, this guy gets better. But at his age and at the split decisions he's had, I think if a good one hits you, you're just going to go down at this point. And I think Oleksiejczuk got this one. So I got the Lord here.
Okay, let's take the next one, Stefan Struve, because I know you like him, versus Marcos Rogerio de Lima. I'll let you take that one. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, again, another rough patch for Stephen Struve, and it's a shame because this guy, I feel like, and I've said it before, in an alternate universe, this dude would be heavyweight or would be champ. He'd be killing it. I think he a lot of people don't understand, but the guy beat Stipe Miocic before he was a really big name. Sadly, after that fight, he lost to Mark Hunt. Then he had to fight Alistair Overeem. He did have a few wins in between those, but it was never enough because he would lose a fight to somebody who it was just a bit of a setup for him to win. Stephen Struve actually has a pretty decent submission game, and he's got some great kicks that can hit you from real far away. He does end up getting beaten up by punches, though. Punches are definitely his biggest weakness. I mean, any type of fighter who can mix it up with him on the inside is just going to be absolute trouble for him. And Marcos Rogerio de Lima sadly does that all the time. I mean, this guy is up in people's face in the very beginning of fights. Beat up what's his name? Adam Wozriak. Beat up Wozriak after a bit of a bad start, actually. Then he started to get in top position. He throws some really heavy lumber. He likes to clinch and then throw hooks. Likes a little jab cross combination, and he can even throw a nice heavy, really heavy kick to the lead leg. Good uppercuts as well, and he can put the pressure on. Beat up Jeremy Kimball in a round. Now, Jeremy Kimball might not be as good as a lot of people put him up to be, but Jeremy Kimball can get people out of there in one round. And instead, I mean, Rogerio de Lima put that in reverse on him, and it was a big shot, man. He got an arm triangle on him, so he's good on the ground too. Just as good as Stephen Struve, though. But I mean, Stephen Struve has that height, and Marcos Rogerio de Lima, I mean, this guy's fighting another tall guy, so he's actually very used to fighting tall fighters. And on paper, Rogerio de Lima definitely wins this, but I'm still picking Stephen Struve just because I think this fight, he maybe gets some kicks in there, and hell, maybe even he gets to put on a bit of a striking display that we haven't seen in a while. He beat Silva with an elbow a long time ago, but I got Struve in this fight.
Yeah, I think de Lima wins this fight, guys. I think Struve's super on the decline here. Really just
but real tough competition.
Yeah, but man, like Struve isn't Struve anymore, right? This is a guy who beat Stipe at one point. I know everybody likes to fucking say that, but you guys really got to take that in. Beat Stipe, right? Knocked him out. Didn't just beat him. He knocked him the fuck out. And Struve has had a history of his panic attacks and his heart problems and whatever like that. And I feel for the guy. I really do. I've been through those panic disorders and everything in my life. So I understand exactly what he's going through. It's fucking scary, both to have a panic attack, especially before a fucking fight. I before I would never think about even competing or being a fighter or anything like that when I was having my panic disorder. So I give him props for even trying. You know what I mean? Good for him. But very difficult when you're already mentally beaten before the fight to get into the octagon is very fucking difficult, guys. Cowboys Ronnie is talking numerous times about wanting to take a fucking Uber from his locker room home when the fight's about to start. He didn't want to fight. This is a lot, like, it happens, man. You get the nerves, and I think Struve actually had to pull out literally last minute. I forgot who he fought. I might be pulling this one out of my ass right here, but I remember he pulled out last minute. Might have been against Gabriel Gonzaga. I don't remember if they fought, but if they did, or if they didn't, for some reason, it was because Struve pulled out at due to a panic attack. I know in one fight he pulled out like literally last minute because he was having a serious panic attack in the back. So like I said, I feel for the guy and everything, and he's a good kickboxer, man. Trains with Henry Hooft, another like super tall kickboxer, Dutch kickboxer who like really understands his style and whatnot. And then Struve's like fucking dangerous too on the ground, right? He's got some pretty slick fucking jiu-jitsu as well. And he's just not as like like this is the when he was going on that I wouldn't say he was on a run. I don't know how many fights he won consecutively there, but his last fight I believe was Tabura, but in the Arlovsky fight, he was getting taken down by Arlovsky, and I've never seen Arlovsky like take down anyone. So like Rogerio de Lima, I think definitely has the grappling advantage in this spot as well. And I think he might be able to knock out Stephen Struve, who doesn't have the best chin anymore, guys. As we saw in the Volkov fight, he's been knocked out by Overeem, by Mark Hunt, Travis Brown, Roy Nelson. You know the deal, Junior Dos Santos. Like, this guy's been knocked out a lot. So I'm going with Rogerio de Lima. I think he gets the knockout for sure. I'll let you take. I'll take it super quick. The main event here, Jan Blachowicz taking on Thiago Santos. Good fucking fight. This
amazing fight.
Didn't understand the line when it first came out. Like fucking Thiago Santos was a heavy favorite, like minus 250, 200 or something like that. Like, pretty high favorite. And Bear Bunny came in on Blachowicz, very understandable. I think this is right down the middle, a pick'em fight. Very, very close fight. I would say Blachowicz definitely has like that grappling advantage. I'm not saying Thiago Santos is like a fish out of water on the ground or anything like that. I'm pretty definitely has some Brazilian jiu-jitsu in him and some wrestling, but he gets passed very easily on the ground. Doesn't always know what he's doing, and he gasses sometimes pretty quickly once he's on the floor. Has he ever been submitted? Yeah, by Spicely. And then Mutante fucking subbed him to that guillotine. But Henhut 205, like I watched his last fight live. We both did. UFC 231 when he knocked out Manimal, right? That was crazy.
Check that one out, guys.
And then Blachowicz just beat his last fight was Nikita Krylov. Super impressive, right? Beating Nikita Krylov, who's a really good striker as well. I think that's something you could take into account for this fight because Krylov's not as much the wild man as Santos, I would say, with the power and whatnot as well. But he is super creative and everything. Does like a lot of stuff out of the book. either way, I think this fight does not go all 5 rounds. I think it actually finishes in the first or second. These guys are going to get tired at some point, and I see one of them collapse and getting dropped with a punch or something, or getting choked out even. I actually think John Blachowicz is going to win this fight. I think he might submit Thiago Santos if he gets him to the floor. I think he actually clips him, drops him, and takes his back or something and chokes him out. And then after that, man, there's like you got to make him for someone else for that #1 contender spot, because he's on a fucking run streak in the light heavyweight division as well. So if he wins this, I would definitely consider him, if not next in line, pretty damn close to it. Yeah, like Anthony Smith is getting. I think he deserves a shot more than Anthony Smith. But, yeah. Anthony Smith, maybe Alir Latifi. Did Latifi win his last fight? I think he won his last fight.
Did he? Then he could be in line.
Let me check super quick. No, he lost. Oh yeah, he lost against Corey Anderson.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, he lost against Corey Anderson. So that's why I was okay. So that's what you do. Have they fought recently? Because if they fought about past, that's cool. I'd say do the rematch, because Corey's on a fucking win streak as well, right?
True.
Yeah, and the last time they fought was in 2015, and it went to decision.
That'd be a good fight.
And I think you do the rematch there for the #1 contender, because those are the two guys, in my opinion, who fucking deserve it. Corey deserves it. Corey's on a Corey beat Latifi and Gilbert Teixeira and Patrick Cummins, you know?
Yeah.
So you can't underestimate that guy as well. I think you make that the thing. But, yeah. So this is actually the final play in my 2.83 parlay plus 218. I got the fight doesn't go to decision here, the Santos versus Blachowicz fight. Gib, go ahead and break this down.
You know what? I mean, since I've been doing this podcast, one guy I did probably one of the most research on was Jan Blachowicz. It's probably one of like the first few events we did, and this guy was coming off of a Pat Cummins fight, and it was a majority decision. It was a rough fight for him, especially after Gustafsson. I think a lot of people saw him losing his next fight, but he went on and got 4 W's in a row. One was Devin Clark, who was supposed to starch him, but he got him and choked him up in the second round off of the fence. Very crafty. Then he fought Jared Cannonier, a real tough puncher. Went rounds with him, and he's tough. I mean, if you're a heavy puncher, you can go rounds with you. And Jimmy Manuwa, who he actually fought previously and lost to, he actually got his win back and beat Jimmy Manuwa in a pretty good decision. And going into the Krylov fight, got his arm triangle. He's got the submission skills to really get him far in fights and have more than one way to end them. He's one of those fighters where he can rise up back from the dead after getting touched. And you need that if you're up against Thiago Santos. Both of these people can hit hard. I would say it takes a little longer for Jan Blachowicz to kind of get revved up. But once he does, man, Jan can switch stances into punches, fit him into spaces that even people guarding really high can't block. Throw uppercuts, throw some nice punches and bunches. Uppercuts and hooks. I think he threw like a 4-punch combo, just 1, 2, 3, 4, and just doing that, and it kept guys off of him in tons of fights. Sometimes he's got a bit more looseness to him. He's got a very open stance, which I wouldn't exactly recommend against Thiago Santos. His arms are very, very wide, very out there, but I mean they definitely call in a lot of punches and kicks to be thrown at him. And what he does, I mean, is pretty smart. Threw lots of kicks to Jimmy Manuwa to stop him, and I can see him doing the same thing to Thiago Santos, and I can even see him grinding him up against the fence a little bit better than a lot of people have done. Thiago Santos, I mean, once you miss a strike, this guy is on you, and he's throwing kitchen sinks at you. Thiago Santos gets off balance just due to him throwing. He throws very aggressively, and he throws with a lot of power. Doesn't do any sort of adjustment, doesn't really fire any light jabs. I mean, and if he does, you're special. I mean, you're special if he's throwing light on you. Normally, everything's trying to kind of take your head off. He does kind of throw the measuring kind of tool jab out there, but he really looks for his amazing counters and looks to hit people with heavier, medium kind of spiking shots. Thiago Santos has great cruise control, and he's amazing at just kind of letting fighters get to some places, moving backwards, throwing punches well, and he's good off the floor too. He's gotten up off of real bad situations, but in his fight against Jimmy Manuwa, my God, I mean, that first round, I actually thought Jimmy Manuwa had that fight won, but I mean, Thiago Santos battled back and it almost made the first round look weird. It was almost like Santos was starting to kind of gain a little bit. And the second round, a little bit more of, I don't know who's winning this fight, but people are getting beaten up. But Thiago Santos just started to outride him, just really play chicken with him and just keep throwing punches and really put the pressure on. And he's good at it. Really good at putting the pressure on, but I think it's going to be hard to do to Jan because Jan Blachowicz is good at fighting those types of people. I mean, we've already seen him go two fights with Jimmy Manuwa, and Jimmy Manuwa gave a lot of problems to Thiago Santos. So for this fight, I'm going with Jan. I don't know how this fight's going to end. This is very close. But I just hope Jan wins it. It could be anything, actually. I think both of them are capable of ending it in each way. So, yeah, I mean, maybe a decision, but
maybe a decision. You're fucked.
Maybe.
How does this go to decision? Please explain to me, brother.
I don't know, man. If he gets gun shy, because if Thiago Santos can't throw his punches, he might just kind of wait and
then for 5 rounds they're both gun shy.
Jan Blachowicz tends to wait sometimes. He hasn't been in a 5-round fight in a while, so
I don't think Thiago Santos is going to be gun shy at all.
Yes.
Not at all. Like I've never seen him be gun shy in my entire life, so I don't know why he would choose the biggest fight of his life at this point to be gun shy.
I don't know, man. Against Jan, you might have to be.
No, he wasn't like that against Manuwa. And Manuwa is probably the better striker, if we're being honest here, even though he lost to Jan. And I don't know. I really don't think this is definitely not going off all 5 rounds. This wouldn't go 3 rounds.
It could be a war decision.
If this was a 3-round fight, I would still pick the fight doesn't go to decision. And this is a fucking 5-round fight? Oh my goodness, give me the fight doesn't go to decision, please. I got that all day, guys. So just to review the plays here, I got 2.83 units on Ismagulov, Fishgold. Fight goes to decision for Yan and Dodson. Fight doesn't go to decision for Santos and Blachowicz. 2 units on Klitz and Farias do Abreu at plus 195. The parlay was at plus 218. And gonna also play Chris Fishgold by submission. I'm not sure what the odds are gonna be. They haven't been released yet, but I'll be playing him probably 0.5 units. Almost 100% 0.5 units. For whatever I'm guessing they might be. If I get lucky, and if I get plus 200, I'll fucking go crazy. But I'm assuming it's gonna be in plus 150, maybe even lower than that category because that's a super likely outcome. I think it's just path to victory. But give them your DK lineup too.
Yeah, DraftKings is I got this Carmouche. I got Damir Ismagulov, Rustam Khabilov. I got Ismail Naurdiev and the Lord and Stephen Struve. and the other one is Jan Blachowicz. I got Jan Blachowicz, Julian Robertson, Daniel Teymur, Damir Ismagulov again, Grant, and yeah, that's it.
Good stuff. All right, guys, we'll see you next week. I'm almost 100% sure we're doing this we'll be at our home gym with former UFC fighter Claude Patrick. We'll be breaking down UFC 235. It really won't be that long, probably 30-40 minutes at most. It will be super quick that we're with Claude. We're not trying to waste too much of his time for sure, but we do want to get his input and analysis on a lot of these fights. I know he trained with guys like Kamaru Usman and stuff in the past, so it's really good to hear his analysis on some of those guys. I think and like he trained with Misha Serkinov a ton as well, so
a lot of insight into the game.
Yeah, it'll be cool to listen to all his analysis on all those fights and whatnot. But till next time, guys, we'll see you for UFC 235. Let's enjoy the fights, everyone, and good luck, bro. Have a good one, guys.
Have a good one, guys.